Here.
Would you please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance? I
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Ketchikan City Council, Grant Council, would like to respectfully acknowledge the traditional first people of this land in Ketchikan, the Tongass Tlingit people. Moving on to new business, appointment of the chair and vice chair. At this time, I'd like to nominate Jana Lee Gage to the chair and Mr. Patton as vice chair.
Second.
Any opposition?
Me.
You're up. I'll have you sit here, Jana Lee. That way you'll be able to see people. Or do you want to stay there?
Oh, I can stay here.
Oh,
Why would I? Now I see what you did. Seriously? You threw me off. I see what you did. All right. Wasn't expecting that. All right.
Organizational input from committee members. So how long do you want each of the organizations to speak? Do you have any rules about what you want to happen?
Well, we'd already put in 5 minutes, was it?
I just
Or
said brief. I did not
brief,
say
okay.
anything. So to you guys.
All right. So let's start with 5 minutes and then, but keep it brief. Just so everybody has time to speak.
You want me to start reading off the names?
Madam Chair, if I may ask that we, for item 2B, organizational input from committee members, I know that I will have a few of these recommendations to recuse myself from. I assume this would be the portion of the meeting where we would address those matters.
Sure. So do we want to do them as we go or would we do that in the second meeting?
I would do them now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I might as well just have
You
that
can just each
transparency
person
now.
just say
We just
one.
go person
Okay.
by person.
All right. So you want to start then again?
Sure. Just as a matter of good practice, there are two of the organizations that are applying for funds for which I serve on the board, and those include the Ketchikan Agricultural Producers Association and First City Players. So for those two organizations, I will be making no recommendation toward the committee's grant amount, and the averaging will be done by the remaining 4 members.
Okay.
For the Ketchikan Area Arts and Humanities Council, I derive a very small income on a monthly basis for a program that I host for the council. So I'll recuse myself from that as well. And for Women in Safe Homes, my wife does part-time work as a registered nurse for that organization. So I will recuse myself from making a recommendation to that organization also. So this is one of the challenges of being civically engaged in your small town. So those are my 4. Thank you.
Okay, I run the Plaza Mall. So I'm going to recuse myself from the Ketchikan Youth Court and the Ketchikan After School Program. Additionally, I have a contract with Community Connections, so I will be recusing myself from that one as well. And those are mine.
Got nothing.
Got nothing.
So I'm a member of the Kanyama Garo Ketchikan Exchange, but I'm not on the executive board.
So you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm good then.
You're just like a volunteer, right?
Yeah.
Kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah.
And you donate.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're fine. And me, besides donating, I'm not on any of the boards. Made it clean this year. All right, so move into consideration of community agent grant requests, and then community agency presentation. Do we have a list? or-
I have a list. So the first person is Stephen Reeves.
Come on, Lee.
Not sure if I have the pleasure of being first, but
You signed up first.
I'll take it. I'm usually here with my compatriot, Gary Wanzer, who's on a night trip to Europe, getting back tomorrow. And then Morgan Berry, a board member, was gonna join me. He just called saying an emergency came up, he couldn't, so I'm home. I think I've provided pretty lengthy description and materials you have. I was just going to describe our objectives for the coming year and then take any questions you have. We have about 7 or 8 projects that we're working on. One is we will, by February, we will have the 9th edition of Our Town ready for printing and then distribution this year. We'll be distributing like we usually do. This year, maybe more, 13, 14, 15,000 copies to businesses all around the hospital, KBB, et cetera. So another one that we're working on is interpretive signage. We hope to support the city. We've had a lot of experience with signage, doing the ones you've seen on buildings around downtown Creek Street, Stedman Falls. We'd like to work with the city on the signage that's coming up under, at least I understand that's going to be a priority for this year to expand signage. So we're hoping we can help the city on a bunch of fronts. We've learned a lot about signage from our work. The big one for us is Yates Memorial Hospital. Some of you know we've been trying for 15 plus years to get that restored. It's always been our #1 priority. We finally were able to purchase it from St. John's Episcopal Church this year. We've had a few grants that have enabled us to get the Mission Street facade basically 90% done if you've driven past it. And now we're working to go after more funds to get the building done. Our big dream, and it's not really a dream, it's we're intent on doing it, is once it's done, we'd like to have a heritage tourism destination on the ground floor, but probably what I hope for is honoring the women nurses who worked in that building during our boom years and kept us all alive during, not you guys and not me, but the town alive during the years it was the only hospital between Juneau and Seattle. And then the revenues from that and other revenues from the building will support historic preservation far into the future and heritage tourism, things we might do, signage in our town and other stuff. So that's our goal in doing this. The other project that we've just started is what's called a historic preservation plan. It's much more than that for the city. It will look at especially the historic neighborhoods, the historic districts we have. Also, we have more than any other town our size by far, and that we have 3 national historic districts. But we'll also be looking at Saxman and other places around the community and having a plan for looking after our history. And it looks at a lot of other things too. One big issue that's been going on, came before a few of you last week at the council meeting, is restrooms. That's one of the things we're looking at in these historic districts, how to get those integrated in a way that is acceptable to the community and works and doesn't cost much. So that's a big project that we're doing, and we have to have it done. We're going to start public meetings here in the next few weeks, and we have to have it done this summer. So a lot on our plate for that. The walking tour map, we do that every year. We are updating that, pioneer printing to get that printed out. And we hope we get the funds someday to have QR codes that do a little bit better job on the walking tour and on the map itself, telling our history. Right now, we don't do a great job with it. You need more information. We'll continue to help historic property owners. The Pioneer has been a big one for us. We've been working with them to get funds and get a historic improvement design. But there's a lot of private sector people we help too. And then we also, some of you remember we did a waterfront master plan for our entire waterfront a few years back. We'd like the findings of that to begin to influence some of the city decisions on benches and other stuff that are being proposed right now. So that's our goal for the year. Any questions about all that?
I have one.
Yep.
What was the issue with the QR codes? Because that would be really cool as a person who's used the walking tour map to give to guests.
Yeah.
What is the issue with not using the QR codes on the map?
We don't have, it takes a lot of work to get those QR codes prepared. We can actually place them, we can put them in the map.
Uh-huh.
We can also place them on like our colorful characters signs we have around town
Right.
and other opportunities. It's just that it's a lot of work. It'd be great to have interviews with older folks who knew the town in the beginning and, a range of people to tell the story in these QR codes.
So you're wanting them to link to like a voice recording? Or?
It can be voice and graphics. Yeah, that's what
Okay.
it's
Just,
typically done.
I'm just gonna put that out there that on Excel, there's a file extension, costs $6.99. You can create all the QR codes you want.
Yeah.
And they're graphic. You can just drop them in anything. I use them for all of my media and
Yeah.
marketing.
Yeah.
So calm.
I know that, it's just,
Okay.
it's a lot of work to do that. It's,
Okay.
a big part of it is what you communicate, what the community wants you to communicate, et cetera. So, we'd like to do that, just a lot of work.
Stores might pay to
Yeah.
have their QR code linked
Uh-huh.
on it. Yeah.
Well, I'll talk to you about that
Yeah.
someday.
Jack.
Thanks, Mr. Reed, for the application and presentation, and congratulations on the work securing the Yates building. I know that's been an ongoing project. I did appreciate there was some good detail in your application about that building. I was just curious what you anticipate the revenue structure might be. Are you looking to do like ticketed entry or guided tours or pay what you wish? Do you have some sense of how you might collect revenue in that building?
On the ground floor, have you been in there in recent years? Yeah, it's just exactly the way it was in 1908.
Oh my
The
God.
fireplace, the surgery room, all the rest of it. We'd like to dedicate that. We'd like to have actually, even have the early 1900s nurses' costumes. We'd like to actually have a couple of nurses in there giving tours of what it was like to be a nurse, keeping the town alive during those years and history of the boom years of Ketchikan at the same time. They would pay to get in, and that would be the revenue source there. There's room as you go up a boardwalk that we planned between Mission and Dock to have, there could be, Starbucks, a coffee shop, something on that ground floor that'd be cool. That could also derive revenue. And there's a second floor that what I've always thought would be great is not very expensive offices for nonprofits on the second floor. It's a nice location. There's a lot of benefit of working together, having common facilities, smaller nonprofits. So that's our goal. And if we can get the project done with volunteer and grant support, that revenue will be a net revenue coming in that will fund us. I've looked at some of the most successful ones around the country. Historic Boston was a model for me. They did something like this in the early 90s, and it funds all of their operating expenses. They don't need any support from the city of Boston. And so we see it as kind of the road forward for heritage tourism.
Thank you.
It'd be awesome.
Thank
Anything
you.
else?
Yeah. Anybody else?
Okay.
Hey,
Thank you, sir.
Elizabeth Nelson.
Good evening, and thank you again to the City of Ketchikan for your continued support, not just of First City Players, which is the organization that I represent, but all the nonprofits that exist and work for this community. I really firmly believe that it is part of what makes it a great place to live. And there are so many communities where the governments don't understand the need and how important nonprofits are to to a community in general, and what we offer and what we are able to give the community, from keeping people alive to making it worthwhile to live here, could never happen if we were part of a government body. We do this with passion, we do it because we care. We work long hours without pay, and we love it, and we're grateful for the support that we've received. I work for First City Players. I've worked there for a really long time. We are Ketchikan's community theater. I think my application probably covers most of the questions that you have or might have, but if you have others, I would be happy to answer them at this point.
Anybody have any questions?
Then I'm gonna go back to the first night of jazz and cabaret workshops, which just started tonight.
Nice.
Thank you so much, and again, thank you for your continued support of the nonprofits, of all the nonprofits in our community.
Thanks for all you
Thank
do,
you.
Elizabeth.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
We have Austin Otis with Ketchikan Youth Court, and he is participating
He's-
remotely.
He's in Mexico.
Yeah.
Hey, can you guys can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, awesome. Yeah, sorry, I was on vacation. I planned it horribly. Luckily I can have
We can
internet
tell.
here, but I'll be brief. Ketchikan Youth Court had a good year this year. Some things that we're working on. We're working on an MOA with the school district. We want to insert ourselves into getting more cases, specifically with vaping. We know that kids nowadays don't smoke cigarettes or do traditional forms of tobacco, and we understand that vaping is kind of the new problem in school. So we would like to pair with actually the Wellness Coalition. I have a meeting when I get back to figure out what we can do to tackle that. Mostly focused in middle school and high school. The other thing that I would like to focus on this year is recruitment and retention of our members. We just graduated a new group of members, 10 members, and it's going to take about a year to train them to be our youth court members. So that's what we're kind of working on this year. The kind of age ranges from 11 to about 17 in that class. So we're up to 19 members now. That's a pretty healthy group. I usually like to have 12 to 15 people. And I don't know if you guys are aware, but Youth Court, our main fundraiser is the Blueberry Ball Roll during the Blueberry Festival. And that's where we make a lot of our money. And you can see me dressed up as a giant blueberry usually. We made about $6,000 from that grant, or sorry, from that fundraiser. And most of that money is for our yearly conference. There's about 9 youth courts in Alaska. And we will be going to Nome this year. I've never been to Nome, never been to Western Alaska. So I'll be taking about 10 kids out to Nome. So that's kind of what we're looking at. I usually like to inform you guys of some kind of the numbers of juvenile crime. I didn't notice anything large this year. We had about 18 cases. That was up 3 from last year. And still about 75% of them are alcohol related. Our driving violations have gone down, so I don't see a lot of juveniles driving without their licenses or driving without permits. But I have seen a lot more drunk driving from juveniles. So that's just a trend that I see. So I have seen an uptick in juveniles drinking and getting DUIs. So that's really what I have to say about Youth Court. If you guys have any questions, I can answer them for you. Oh, and our flat funding from last year is still the same. We're asking for $15,000.
Anybody have any go for it. There.
Thank you, Austin, for joining us while you're away. Congratulations on your 19 members. I know when you composed this application in the late fall, early winter, you were looking to add 10 to a smaller group. I'm just wondering how many of those 19 are graduating seniors this year?
I'll just lose 1. So this
Just
year
one.
1, and then next year I'll lose 2. So we'll have good numbers.
Great, thank you.
Anybody else? Well, I guess we'll let you go back to vacation, Austin.
I'll still be on the line. I like to hear everyone how the other nonprofits are doing.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Austin.
Next, we have Jen Brown, who will also be participating remotely.
Can everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
yep.
Excellent. Lovely. Good evening. My name is Jen Brown, and I serve as the Executive Director of the Ketchikan Agricultural Producers Association, also known as CAPA. This is our first year asking the city for funds, so to introduce anyone on the committee who's not familiar with CAPA's mission, our goal is to create food security and food sovereignty in Ketchikan and the surrounding communities by providing infrastructure and technical assistance for those who harvest food locally within our community to be able to distribute it throughout the community. We've been around since 2021, and with very, very minimal financial support, we've been able to do some accomplish some pretty incredible things. We've raised about $500,000 in funding to do various feasibility studies and needs assessments to understand food insecurity in the Ketchikan area and what needs to be done to overcome the insecurity that we have. Part of what we were able to discover through that research is that there's a really big gap in infrastructure primarily and then knowledge secondarily. And so that's really what our focus as an organization is. Current projects that we're working on, we have funding right now to put an ice making facility, a small ice making facility in this summer to supplement our fishing fleet and our sport fishing and commercial fishing fleet. We're in the process of seeking funding for technical assistance to help home-based food businesses transition into commercial food businesses. And we are also in the process right now of pursuing funding for our food hub. The food hub is a multifunctional facility with a pretty large price tag attached to it that we're looking to put in the Ketchikan community, most likely at Saxman Seaport. We submitted a CDS request to Senator Murkowski's office last year for over $5 million to help fund that. And we're in the process right now of working with the Southeast Conference organization to secure $6 million more in funding to get that facility built. Our current request to the city is to really help us kind of bridge the gap. This is going to be a big year for CAPA, and our funding is a little bit thin. A lot of the funding that we have right now is really tightly focused on the projects themselves and not really the operational support that our organization needs to be able to do the basic things like bookkeeping, financial management, keeping our website up so that as our feasibility studies are published, people are able to access the results and better understand what we're actually doing with the funding that we're receiving from the various state and federal agencies that have been supporting us since 2021. For every $1 in operational support that we're able to get, that's going to enable CAPA to pursue between $5 and $10 in additional funding. That's going to bring really critical infrastructure and support to the community to help overcome food insecurity. I think that's kind of the Cliff's Notes there. Are there any specific questions I can answer?
Anyone have questions? Go for it.
So what's meant by the term food sovereignty?
Food sovereignty. So that is relating back to native foods, traditional foods, and making sure that we're able to be stewards of enabling the sovereignty of those foods to stay with the tribes and the people who whose land this is.
Any additional questions? I guess, Jen, no other questions.
Thank you so much.
Next we have Heather Parker. She's via WebEx as well.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, wonderful. Good evening. Thank you for being here. I'm Heather Parker, the supervising attorney for the Southeast Offices of Alaska Legal Services. I want to thank you all for your continued support of our Elder and Family Advocacy Project with Alaska Legal Services. Alaska Legal Services provides free civil legal services to low-income Alaskans. We're the only statewide agency that provides this particular service. We assist Alaskans with free representation to preserve housing, provide access to basic necessities like food, safety, and public benefits, safeguard elders and those experiencing disabilities, and provide a variety of public services. Our annual goal is to provide legal assistance, representation, and other forms of direct services to 35 individual city households to help maintain family safety, food security, housing, disability rights, and benefits. This year, as of December 2025, I'm sorry, in 2025, we handled 56 cases for 46 individual clients, impacting a total of 112 individuals. Those cases included landlord-tenant rights, negotiating settlements with landlords, or representing individuals in court. Also included access to SNAP and Medicaid benefits, assisting with issues relating to family law, including child support and custody, help with advanced planning documents, including wills, power of attorney, advanced care directives, help with issues connected to debt collection, as well as cases relating to Social Security benefits and employment discrimination. We prioritize those most vulnerable in the community, give priority to elders, individuals with disabilities, those at risk of homelessness, facing domestic violence, or struggling with reductions in critical medical care. Over the past year, we offered 9 community education sessions in Ketchikan or region-wide. We also attended monthly Southeast Alaska networking on elder topics, monthly Southeast Regional Elder Care Coalition meetings, and we strive to provide services to individuals in coordination with other social services agencies. And we continue to update our free website, Alaska Law Help, and our free landlord-tenant helpline. I think everything else was covered in the grant applications, but if you have other questions, I'm happy to answer them.
You have some, Jen?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Parker, for joining us this evening. I noted in your list of funding sources that 3 of your funding sources are federal agencies, and I wondered if you had seen any kind of significant downturn in funding from those funding sources in the past year.
Yeah, thanks for that question. So my realm is supervising our Southeast offices, and the executive director is kind of, and our finance officer are more in charge with really closely monitoring the federal funding. So the short answer is I don't know the total answer to the number of reduction that we have received, or if we have received a federal reduction. I know that they are closely monitoring it, but I don't know if there has been a federal reduction. I know there's a lot of fear about it, and there's been concern about legal services funding being cut across the nation, but I don't know at this moment in time what that status is.
Understood. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I have a question. So how do you determine the financial need of the client?
Yeah, thanks for that question. So for every person who applies for our services, we have them go through an application, and it's either people can do it on the phone, over online. We usually do have to follow up with them on the phone, and we plug that information into our computer, and then we can calculate the percentage of poverty that they're at, and we also collect information on their assets. So because we receive funding from the Federal Legal Services Corporation, there are certain restrictions on both the kinds of cases we can take, but also the individuals that we serve. And those guidelines say that we cannot serve anyone who is above 200% of the federal poverty guidelines. There's other pieces to that too. So if someone is at 125% of the poverty guidelines or lower, and it's a civil legal issue and we don't have a conflict, then there's not really a barrier to us serving that client. If they're between 125 and 200%, we actually have to find another factor that lets us serve them. We have this whole kind of checklist of things that we can serve people if they're trying to maintain government benefits. So for example, if someone was cut off of Medicaid or Social Security or something, and they're trying to like appeal that decision, that's something we could do. If they have a high fixed debt There's like I think there's 8 different categories, and usually most people we can find a way to like fit them into those categories. But if they are over 200%, it's kind of a hard no. We're not allowed to serve them. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Madam Chair, I do need to add Alaska Legal Services Corporation to my list. As a partner in CI Professional Services, I do business with them.
Right. Well, I guess we have no more questions, but Heather, I will say I appreciate the work you guys have been doing, especially with the SNAP and issues. And I know it's affected a lot of my clients, so appreciate it.
Thank you. I think that is really important work. There's just a lot of people who need help accessing food and food benefits.
Yeah.
I'm glad we can help.
And next we have Ty Retke.
Hello, Ty Retke with the Pat Shelter. I did distribute a little bit ago before the meeting another little addendum. Primarily, it's some graphs of why prices, what things have increased. It's some basic information, but the letter on top is just to kind of update you a little bit on it. We had, as I mentioned in our packet information, initially the application, we had our furnace at the shelter decided to give up the ghost on us. So we've been without primary heat for about 3-4 weeks here. I did request some money for that. I made the cardinal sin this year. I didn't attend your guys' budget session, which I usually do, and I didn't realize that you had reduced the humanitarian section by a big chunk. So I've been in contact with other funders as well. I had a really good conversation with the Peace Health community, like they're that one, and they're very positive in helping us with that as well. So we are sending that $35,000 from the initial application. And the time, as bad as it is to lose your furnace in the winter, the timeline for their funding is perfect. So it works out really well. But I think most of my application kind of explains the last complicated 2 years we've had, why things are increasing, and kind of goes over some of our ideas to help kind of stymie that increases. We're not going to be increasing any salaries this year either. We had, laughably, I had to increase my own salary by $10 a month to meet the minimum wage law that went into effect in January or July. Other than that, we're not going to be touching that.
You didn't do that?
Well, I was under the limit apparently.
Oh, gotcha.
So, otherwise, we did have a pretty decent year fundraiser wise. We started a new fundraiser a couple of years ago, Soup by the Sea. And that has been consistently raising about $5,000. My tattoo raffle still is making some money, $3,000 to $4,000 for letting this community put terrible art on my body. And we still have a very strong donation base of food and materials, and we still get the USDA food deliveries as well. So I am here to answer any other questions you might have.
Anyone? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Edkey, for your application and for being here this evening. I'm having a hard time finding the page, but I really appreciate the work you're doing in the Reconnect program. I recall there being some language about there being some carryover funds from last year's grant.
Yes.
I remember there being a table. Oh, here's the table here. I had a hard time determining what portion of those funds might be carryover from last year's grant.
Yeah, sure. So on the very last, it's actually the very last piece of information in that full packet I just gave you.
Yes. Oh, okay.
We had, so for the Reconnect program, I found it to be exceptionally successful, more than I even expected initially. We served, as of the writing of this, which was in the data through November 20th, we served 29 people. 21 of those people traveled. It's all but, I put one of them, 2 of them are unknown. Like I was not able to reach them. One of them passed away. Otherwise, the other 19 are still housed, as far as we know. So we found it to be, because I think when we initially worked with the council to make that program, we were expecting a dozen to 15. I'm actually still serving a few more people. We're kind of in the pipeline. It was also cheaper per person to do it than we expected. We had put kind of the manager, Delilah, who was manager then at that point, put a hard cap of $5,000 per person basically. And we found that we used far less than that. And so we spent out all of the administrative funding and the salary portion of it, and then I just stopped paying myself to do it. But of the clients' expenses, we expected to spend about $7,500, and we only spent $13,400. So we've still got a little over 14,000 left.
Okay, thank you.
To spend, and I did include a request to kind of pump that up a little bit so we can continue to do that throughout the next years.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Ty, just out of curiosity, besides your furnace, what are some of your most urgent, like, what are you looking at doing in the next, besides the,
we don't have enough time to list all
Yeah,
the stuff
I
on
know,
my
but,
building, but
like,
the building
most
itself,
urgent?
the building itself is 80 some odd years old. It was originally part of the hospital across the street, and it was a public health center for a long time. And I don't think during any of that time, the maintenance was really done on it. So my goal over the next year, and actually for the last several years, has been to replace the building, either to move into a new facility, a different facility rather, which I think is probably the most achievable goal. And we are working on some avenues towards that as well. Yeah, the building is just old. You know, it's
And
Bill was saying, been really hard and put away wet kind of thing, you know, for a long time.
can you refresh, what's their main clientele that you see in the shelter today?
Yeah, demographically speaking, I can give you some real brief, you know, our average age is going to be an adult in the 40s. We generally, because of our model, we don't accept clients that are actively drinking or doing drugs. So and it's not like 100% zero, no tolerance, but we try to make sure that this place is safe.
Yeah.
And both for staff and for the other clients. By kind of weeding out folks that are not able to stay with us, it does present a safer environment, which lets us run with less staff as well, which is why our overall operation costs are much lower than a shelter that would have a mix of people that are using substances. And we also find that it tends to help the people that are attempting sobriety with us, which happens quite a bit. I believe that back in there, I think it's around 50% of our addiction. Having a place that kind of holds them accountable for those things does help them. And also not being exposed to other people that are using substances is also something that helps in those cases.
Are you still seeing a large number of disabled folks?
Yes. Again, I think the marker in here, last year, we saw it was about 45% of our intake was disabled in one way or another. The biggest block of disability, we do ask for any kind of disability that people have, and we kind of separate it out. The number one disability is going to be physical or mobility related, often age related. So we get a lot, especially with a building that's 2 floors, it becomes very difficult for people with a wheelchair or a walker, or we had a gentleman that had a broken leg for the duration of his stay. And those things are something we see where not only does it contribute to their homelessness because there's not active locations for them to rent that are accessible, it also makes it hard for them to use our services because our main floor at the street level is actually the top of the building. And there's a floor below that has the laundry room, the kitchen, and half of the dormitory space. So we've been pretty lucky that when we do get folks in really severe mobility issues that we have through our staff and other clients, we're able to kind of, oh, I'll take your laundry down to your laundry or that kind of thing. But ideally, we would have a facility that was had those necessities on wrap.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Next.
Thank you, Ty.
Bernice Metcalf.
I am here for Ketchikan Case Management of Southeast Senior Services, a division of Catholic Community Services. I help seniors 60 and older and their caregivers. And I'm not very good at public speaking, so I'm here to take questions and tell you guys thank you for your continued support.
I have a question.
Yes.
Every year since I've been on this committee, you've put in for the food and fuel program. I'm wondering, you don't need it this year?
We do need it. We currently don't have a site manager, and our people up in Juneau are very busy, and it got forgotten.
Oh, wow. I wondered.
Yes. But we'll see what happens.
So. Go ahead, Jeff.
Okay, thanks for joining us this evening. I'm really excited about the Gatekeeper program. I think that's really innovative, and it's a program I really hope continues to grow.
Yes.
I wonder if you have some sense of how many new references that program has brought about to you since it was implemented, and if there's a goal that you're trying to reach for next year.
I get most of my referrals from KPU. And it's been a great working relationship with them. I actually am working on some right now. And it's great working with reaching out to the seniors in the community and helping them figure out how to problem solve some situations.
Do you have a sense of perhaps how many references or referrals you've seen through that program this year? Even ballpark?
I can't, I would have to go through my reports.
Sure, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks.
you put something on the food and trans. How much was that last? Well, how much was
40.
it? 40.
40,000.
So is that something you've asked them to put back in?
It's
I know you.
completely a different
Oh.
division, so I'm not sure. I just got back to town and I just became aware of this myself.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Bernice, for what you do.
Ms. Scarborough. Good evening. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it, guys. I really do. I'm not going to go over my grant application. I do want to highlight one thing though. As of Valentine's Day, we will have been in operation for 20 years. I know that's not much for a lot of where 18 churches came together in 2005 and said we want to pool our resources and serve the community. It's pretty impressive. So we've done some really good work. We've served over 2,100 households in our community over the last 20 years. Get about 100 new every year, and it's either people that have just come to town. There's a lot of people that just show up in Ketchikan and they're looking for help. And then every now and then we'll run into someone that's been here a while and just needs a little extra help. I passed out our annual report, which I threw together and finished this afternoon. It's very short and simple, but it's got our stats inside it for this last year, finances, our volunteers, donors, organizations, and we get state funds. We get some state funds. We don't receive any federal funds, so we're not affected by any of that. So, questions?
Yeah. You mentioned the TPAP program. I just wasn't sure what that was.
Sorry about that. It's temporary emergency food assistance program. It's a Department of Agriculture and Department of, I want to say there's two departments, I can't remember. It's a federal program where the government buys product from farmers and dairy farmers and ranchers, and then they have it packaged. Like the chicken normally comes through Tyson, they package, most of it's all done on the East Coast, and then they ship it out to nonprofits. It includes schools, churches, Todd gets it, I get it, Wish gets it, Salvation Army, and they get two sections. They get giveaway and then the soup kitchen. And we just get whatever it is the government purchases. So right now in my stores, I have frozen chicken that just came in, chicken legs. I have a lot of fruit. We get a lot of fruit. We don't get a lot of vegetables. We get a lot of fruit. I have applesauce and mixed fruit, and I just got pears. And then we'll get rice, macaroni and cheese, spaghetti, noodles, and pasta sauce. Usually comes together, although the last time the pasta sauce came and the noodles didn't. So I went out and bought noodles. So we bought noodles with pasta sauce. It's random, and usually it kind of slows down towards the end of the year. So we, Love in Action, we add extra stuff to it to make it a little more rounded out. So there's 2 or 3 meals. Sometimes we've got 20 commodities. Sometimes we have 5. So it just depends. And we do it on the 4th Thursday of the month. We distribute it at least at a minimum once every 30 days is required by our agreement. So we do it the 4th Thursday of the month normally, except for November and December. And people just come in and we ask them what they want out of the group from a checklist, and they walk out with whatever it is they choose that we have available. And then we Love in Action also have a drop-in pickup food program the third Friday and Saturday, which will be at the end of this week. People in the house can stop by and pick up non-perishable and meat for 3 or 4 meals to get them through the hump.
And that program is ongoing.
Yeah, we do it all year round. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Stephanie, I'm sorry, Smino?
I'm Stephanie Smino, Deputy Director for WISH, and thank you for your continued support. I don't even know how long we have received this grant, but it's been a great support for our prevention and education. This year, not much is changing really. I'm sure you've read the grant application, but we're just using it for personnel costs for the CAC prevention programming in the schools, for the presentations for the kiddos and stuff like that. And just additional support in the shelter. So, questions?
Anybody? I guess you're good.
All right.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Max Mercer?
Wait, that microphone.
Yes. Yeah, there is, Matt. You gotta work on your balance, dude.
Maxwell Mercer, Community Connections. I realize that Community Connections hasn't asked for support from the city of Ketchikan for a long time. And so for those of you who don't know, this year was Community Connections 40th anniversary. So we started in 1985, so that's awesome. Yeah, we had a huge party. It was cool. And Community Connections served a broad swath of the community, all the way from children birth to 3 with developmental concerns to seniors trying to live in their own homes, to stay in their own homes as long as possible. Adults and children with developmental disabilities, and foster care program, our therapeutic foster care program, and our children's mental health program. So we serve lots and lots of different people, trying to support independence, community belonging, and quality of life for all of those folks. My colleague Victoria is over at Prince Wales. We also serve Prince Wales, and she's online if you guys' questions get specific. She's the CMH, the Children's Mental Health Program Director. The gist of our proposal, I think, is pretty well laid out in our application. We're trying to serve young children, 3 to 5. We started this Little Sprouts group intervention program, and it's going wonderful. We've been doing it for about 3.5 months now, and we really want to expand it. We're only serving 3 to 5 year olds right now. We'd like to open up a whole other group, open it up to the community, regardless of people's ability to pay. We want to provide door-to-door transportation to and from group. And this is a group that is 4 hours a day, 4 days a week for 37 weeks. So it runs the whole school year. And so it's 16 hours a week of intervention for these youngsters. And we've discovered that there's a gap in the service array in Ketchikan because there's a bunch of 3 to 5-year-olds that are really struggling emotionally, socially, and at home, and in daycare, and so we started sort of trying to address this gap, and then we realized, wow, the gap is way bigger than we thought. And a lot of the barriers are transportation and ability to pay. And so with the support of the city grant, we would be able to expand and enhance the Little Sprouts group intervention, just serve more children and make a bigger difference. You may wonder why Community Connections. I don't know if you wonder why we're showing up to ask for money suddenly. But it's a tough fiscal environment. I'm sure everybody else is going through the same things. The changes in Medicaid have had a big effect on us. We have over 200 employees, and we've had to keep pace with competitive wages. And as you know, that's been ratcheting and ratcheting and ratcheting and ratcheting. And so we're running a deficit budget. And so we're having to reach out a little bit more than we typically would for grant funding here and there. So things are much tighter. Yeah, we're just excited to make a positive difference in the lives of these youngsters. And I'll take any questions you might have.
Does anyone have any questions?
I'm
Go for it.
a little bit surprised we have 200 employees. That's a lot. What are they how are those broken up more or less in terms of what are they doing?
I would say about 150 of them are what you would call direct support professionals. And so these are the folks that are being dispatched into elders' homes to help with chores, help go shopping, help with wood. These are the staff that are accompanying children with behavioral health concerns into the schools every day. These are the folks that are working one-on-one with adults with developmental disabilities or children with developmental disabilities. So these are your direct care staff. About 150 of those 200 would fall in that. And then there's case managers and administrative support, billing, IT, HR, front desk, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I just want to thank you, Mr. Mercer, for joining us this evening. Back to the Little Sprouts program. Did you say you have about just under a half dozen participants in that program currently?
That's correct, because they have to have the diagnostic criteria and they have to have Medicaid in order for us to be able to afford to do it. So we're proposing opening it up to anybody without and doing pro bono and then also adding this piece of door-to-door transportation for everybody.
And is there a target range for how many children you'd like to be providing these services to in a given year?
20.
20?
Yeah.
Okay, thank
So,
you.
yeah, the groups are run by a master's level clinician and 3 or 4 direct care staff as well in the group. And then we can only do it 10 at a time, which is a handful.
Sure.
And so we're going to, with the city support, we will be able to open up a second group.
So when I was reading this, I got the gist that these kids fell through the cracks. They don't die. They're not diagnosed, but they have various degrees of need.
Yes.
Is there any other sources of funding out there that you guys have come across, or possible in the future, or other ways to fundraise it? It sounds to me like you have more kids than 20, possibly.
Right. It's been going very positively, and we've been having good impacts with the kids we're currently serving. And there's a lot of community outpouring because we started advertising it, and oh my goodness, there was lots of folks, lots of parents and stuff coming and asking about it. So, as far as other funding sources, Community Connections does write a lot of grants, a lot of big state and federal grants. Yeah. I'm a grant writer. And we do have an annual sock drive that I don't know how much we get, maybe 20 or 30,000. And we also have an endowment fund. Part of the reason Community Connections has been here for 40 years is that it's been very responsibly managed. And I included our budget for this fiscal year in there, and you'll notice that we're looking at a deficit of over $800,000 in 1 year. And because have been so conscientiously, managed over the years, we're gonna be okay. But we really are just having to reach out in ways that we haven't before. And I'd like to actually point out that, the total cost of expanding the Little Sprouts program is, we're covering 70% of it, because we think that through enough of those kids will be on Medicaid and won't be able to generate some revenue from some of the kids.
Right.
So,
Yeah, thank you.
Well,
Elizabeth Schultz.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Schultz. I'm with the Ketchikan After School Program. Thank you all so much for your time and consideration this evening. I'm happy to answer any questions about our grant application or our program, but I thought I'd just give a quick overview of what our years look like so far. For the 2025 calendar year, we've served 398 individual youth in just our targeted age range. We served 75 youth last summer for our summer camp. And with the school district restructuring, we've seen a dramatic increase in attendance with all the kids being at Howling. So last year we averaged 25 students a day. This year we're averaging 45 kids a day that come through our doors at some point. Some days are over 60 that come in, and Judy can probably attest to that. There's a real need and interest in our community for the programming for this particular age range. I also just wanted to highlight that the rec center camp, which is amazing and awesome, my own kids go to, ends after 5th grade. And that is exactly where our summer camp picks up, is kids entering 6th grade. So we've got kids that are 11 years old. What are you gonna do all day? So we do a really good job of balancing structured activities. We'll do STEM. Last year we were able to offer cedar weaving and form line and crafts and all that kind of stuff with play, with getting outdoors and hiking, fishing. We have kids who have never hiked before that went up Parlana, and he literally cried because he couldn't believe he got out there. He was not a normally physically active kid. And then there's days we'll haul up 30 kids up to Howling to play kickball for hours, So there's lots of really good play, and I think any summer we can give kids a chance to be a kid for another year is just really kind of incalculable how valuable that is to them and their own lives and our community as a whole. So I don't know if anybody has any questions for me.
Go for it.
Just one, for some of those offsite activities, I just wondered how you handled transportation for those.
We have 2 vans, so we have 2 10-passenger vans that we can take the kids in. And so sometimes we'll go back and forth, driving kids in and out, but yeah.
Thank you.
And we walk a lot too, like if we have kids that are going on a hike north end, or we're gonna go to Baranoff fishing, the kids will walk there, so we kind of make them work too a little bit.
Any other questions? No?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jackie Yates.
Hello, my name is Jackie Yates. I'm the Executive Director of the Ketchikan Wellness Coalition. I would love to rely on the application that I submitted. I'm open to answer any questions you guys have. I am very thankful also for the funding that you guys provide. A lot of this funding is able to be used for match, so we're able to use it to leverage additional funds to bring into the community. So it is key in a lot of our federal and state grants.
Question you've heard me put to other organizations. I wondered if you'd seen any reduction in those federal grants.
Yeah, so we did see reduction in our behavioral health grant, which is state pass-through. So the state issues the grant, but they are ultimately federal funds. We also were initially selected as the top applicant for the entire nation on one of our federal grants. And then we were removed because we do diversity and inclusion work with our Filipino community. So we lost out on, I want to say it was $250,000 of grant funding due to the work we do with the Filipino community. Yeah.
I don't want to say thank you for the information because it sounds like I'm saying thank you for what happened.
Wow. Yeah.
That's
so
really
super unfortunate. But we are going to reapply and to get this next one. But yes, because we talked about it on our website, it was located on our website and we were removed from.
Now,
being in
what
line
was
with
the name of that
administration.
grant? What was the name of that again?
The grant that we applied for,
Yeah.
it was a farming and education planning grant. So we were going to partner with the schools to bring kids out to gardens to learn how to do gardening. And so our application scored #1 across the nation. But in a secondary review, so not a review from the USDA and a review from the administration, we were deemed not to align with administration's priorities. So we lost out on that. But the rest of our funding we continue to maintain, including our drug prevention funding, as our federal funding.
Thank you.
Just just a question, but are you looking into some other areas of getting funding now?
Yeah, so we were able to re-secure Robert Wood Johnson Foundation funding to continue our health equity work, in particular with the Filipino population, for another 2 years. We've secured 3 grants focused on reentry, and in the last 3 months, totaling quite a bit of money. I want to say like $250,000. And then we've been working on diversifying with more foundations and state agencies. But we also are seeing success in other federal grants as well. So I think it's just continuing to work on making sure we have evidence-based information. Our epidemiological profile was just updated again in 2025, like the most up-to-date kind of community needs with Peace Health on their community health assessment. So I think continuing to make sure we're checking in with the community and providing what the community needs is really important.
Anybody else? Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Deborah Hayden?
Deborah Hayden, Executive Director of Program and President of the Ketchikan Community Land Trust. A few other things I can't remember. So, I just want to emphasize the project to create a facility in Ketchikan that will be the center and progenitor of the mariculture industry in kelp and oyster mariculture for all of Alaska coast. It's a very important thing that will put Ketchikan at the center of the industry, and it's very important for the sense of adapting oyster seed to Alaskan waters and reducing the mortality of the seed that farmers are currently getting and making their farms more viable. More farms will form, and we'll be helping them, and it will really boost the industry. So we're hoping to get that grant that I mentioned in the application. We're hoping to hear from, they told us we'd hear about it by the end of December, but now they're saying the end of January. So we don't know yet, but we'll probably get something. Even if we don't get the whole amount, we'll get something. And I've got several other grants on my plate that we're going to go forward with that will also support that project. That's what I wanted to emphasize. And there's so many other things here, housing and I don't know, a whole bunch of stuff. Business expansion and creation. And this one, a lot of things that come my way sometimes end up as pie in the sky, sometimes don't. But I did have a good conversation with the head of the Southeast Alaska Power Agency about establishing some data centers here in Ketchikan to take advantage of our hydropower. And there are 2 of these in Cordova right now. So we agreed that I would research and find out just who to contact and where to go. And maybe they'll tell us no way, but this is happening all over, and it's something that will really create a lot of revenue for us. So I'm working on looking into that. So haven't got anything solid right now, but we'll just keep researching, and that's the way it is. There are just always these opportunities that come up, and I'm researching all of them, and some of them are going to hit. So if you've got questions, go ahead. Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Hayden. I had, you mentioned the Mariculture Center. I was curious if you identified a site for that potential center.
Oh, yeah, that's an existing site. It's up on North Tongass, near Temsco Helicopters. And it's the one that Marco Scheer is using as a collection and distribution center for his million oysters that he's raising every year. He brings them in, packages them up, and distributes them out. And he's also doing some kelp seed work there also.
And it has water access.
Oh, it's right on the water.
It's on the water. Great. Okay. Thank
It's
you.
got ramps that go down to the.
Great.
They bring the oyster seeds in on boats that just park right up there and unload.
Excellent.
I was just wondering if you could kind of summarize your work in housing, like the current housing work.
Well, there is the one project that's going on in Saxman that's following up on the Tongass townhomes that was done by Swell LLC. And there is a lot up on North or South Yorktown that's 8.63 acres that I've been talking to the city about, that the city owns. That would, the lower part of that lot, the lower third, it is very buildable. It's suitable for 20 to 30 units on the same program. And I've talked to Swell about maybe doing another project right there. They weren't interested at the time because they're busy in Saxman, but by the time we get anything going on the lot up there in South Yorktown, they may be less busy in Saxman. But if not, those same programs are available and I can go ahead and access them. KIC accessed those same programs for their project that was in where the old galley was. So they're available, that program is available. So I can go ahead, I've got 2 grant writers now who are available to me. And we'll be working on developing that lot. I've walked over it with engineer and a couple of other people, and very buildable. And it's the bottom part is level. Then it slopes up to a ridge, but that whole upper slope you don't need to do anything with. It's right across from the Leisure Park Apartments.
Okay.
So there's already, and that project was done with the same program in 1981.
Oh, wow.
Any other questions? Thanks, Deborah.
Step.
Kathleen Light. Hello, Kathleen Light. I'm the director of the Arts Council. I'm hoping our grant speaks for itself this year. I also would like to thank this body for decades of support of the arts and culture of Ketchikan. It is one of the things that keeps people here, brings kids back, keeps us from going nutso while it's doing this stuff outside. 2 of our new projects are extremely exciting to me. One is Island Music, which we sort of fell in our lap. The music director of the Juneau Symphony Orchestra moved to Metlakatla and wanted to do music in Southern Southeast. This great partnership. We're able to put these world-class ensembles right into the schools and help exponentially music programs. They're teaching individual lessons, they're going into the classrooms, they're talking to individual kids, they're staying longer. We've brought musicians for the duration of the Arts Council to the community, and we put them in schools, but that's for here, let's do a concert, and bam, they're out of the community. With this particular program, we're able to bring these musicians for longer, so they can go into classrooms, they can make an impact, with our adult musicians. So they're giving lessons to adult musicians. They're giving lecture series at the library so that people, a little bit of music history and music theory is happening also with our community. Excuse me. We're also partnering with the Annette Island, Annette Island School District to take these musicians there.
Okay.
Oh,
You need water. I didn't drink out of it, I promise.
That's okay. To take the musicians to Metlakatla And this has been really a blast. They're able to go to all the schools. They do a full school concert. And I don't know if you've ever been in a room with 750 kids, but you can hear a pin drop as they're listening to these performances. And they'll ask questions. You know, the littles sit in front and ask questions of these musicians. It's awesome. Anyway, I love this program. I'm a musician myself, and we've been working towards this for a long time. It sort of fell in our lap. It's been extraordinarily impactful in the community. We're going to keep it going as long as we can. The second one is Insert Art, which is a residency program to support professional development and creativity for emerging artists in Ketchikan. So we just kicked this off last year, and we're using a space in downtown. We're leasing a space, which, but we're doing it. And so we have a cohort of 5 artists, emerging artists. Emerging artists, what does that mean? That's artists who don't have galleries, artists who don't have a way to exhibit their work, but they're passionate, they're talented, and they're motivated. So we're able to give these 5 artists a space to work. And they've been able to work for a whole year. They've done several art openings, and they've been making artwork together. So the absolutely extraordinary part of a residency is you get to interact with other artists. Artists are usually very independent and they're in their little box. At this residency, they're able to interact, they're able to learn skills from each other. They're able to learn, we're doing professional development classes with them. You gotta pay your taxes, you gotta get a business license, you got, all those things. We're doing all those things for these artists. And so these will be annual residencies, and we'll keep this going as long as we can as well. So that's some of the really exciting things that we're doing, as well as all the really impactful work that we're already doing. Blueberry Arts Festival, Austin mentioned it. It's one of the things that we wait for all year long, right? Some organizations are using the festival as fundraisers, but based on what the Greater Ketchikan Chamber of Commerce survey resulted in it was last year, I believe, they were able to survey how many people went to the July 4th parade. And it was 15,000 people. So that's a short amount of time for one day. So, if you can extrapolate it out for 3 days for the Blueberry Arts Festival, we're obviously drawing at least that many people and probably quite a bit more. So that's the kind of impact 170 booths are having during the Blueberry Arts Festival. That you can't buy that anywhere else for $65, right? That's what they're paying for their booth. So this is a value that we're able to give to not only nonprofits, but to artists, for small businesses, families that want to raise some money to make food and raise some money for themselves for the summer. Winter Arts Fair, 2,000 people walk through that venue over the 3 days of Winter Arts Fair. So that's what our grant is about. It supports that kind of activity, as well as the Main Street Gallery. We have an exhibit in the Main Street Gallery by Janine Gibbons. You remember Janine Gibbons? She owned Ketchikan Dry Goods, was making jewelry. She was in 100 stores making jewelry. And she went to do a grant at the Rasmussen Foundation, an artist grant, and she didn't get the grant, but as part of the grant, she wrote that she would do an exhibit. So then she was stuck, she had to do an exhibit. She did her exhibit in the Main Street Gallery in 2009, first exhibit she's ever had. Never done that much artwork before. Now, Janine Gibbons is an award-winning illustrator. Her work is all over the world. She's 6 books. She's got a contract with the Alaska Heritage Institute. The Main Street Gallery made that happen for this artist. One little artist at a time, we're able to do these things for people. So that's what our grant's about. I'd love to answer any questions that you might have.
You gotta put that in a book. One little artist at a time. It's like a little storybook. Sorry. No, I really appreciate what you guys are doing. Because I sent your website to a lot of community members outside of Ketchikan even. So.
Thank you. Yeah.
Anyone have questions?
The musicians, are they just doing this in Metlakatla, or are they doing it here too?
Here, and then they go out for a day to Metlakatla.
Oh, gotcha.
So they are, in as many schools as will take them here. They do a presentation at the library, they give the adults lessons here. And then we farm them out to people's homes, so they're interacting with the community that way too. So the bulk of their residency is here. It takes a day to get out there and back, so they have to stay overnight and then they come right back and finish up here.
It's very cool.
It's very cool. Yeah.
That's cool. Anybody else?
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Kathleen.
Linda Faber?
Linda.
Hi. I see you. All right. Good evening. Thank you, guys. It's a little different. I'm in a different position. So I'm Linda Faber. I'm the new executive director of Rendezvous. I've been up here many times before, but for Boys and Girls Club. And
So the rumor was true.
that's true. But I'm very excited about this position. This is actually 1 month to the day that I have been there. And I'm having a blast working with elders in our community. It's like working with our youth in the community. We create a safe place for them. We greet them. We have breakfast. We have snack. We have lunch. We have a snack. We play games. We find out their interests. I'm bringing a lot more stuff in. I have a whole bunch of stuff from Boys and Girls Club, but got a whole clubhouse full of things. And, everybody needs socialization. Everybody needs care. We work with a lot of people, I'm new, so I'm diving in head first, 100%. I think Connor did a great job for a few years. He walked me through some of this, but he put this grant together. So I can answer any questions if you have any, and if I can't, I will find an answer and get it.
Does anyone have any question?
Love Rendezvous.
We know where to find you. So.
You do know where to find me. One thing I do want to say is that a couple of things that we have started, just so you know, because I don't know if he put it in, but me and him were talking. So we feed everybody. I'm not sure if that's in there, but we do have guest speakers that come in. The ballet came in just before Christmas. That was so cool. I'm watching the Nutcracker, and I'm telling you, my heart was so happy with the elders' faces just watching, because they can make it to us. We work with the Pioneer Home, we work with long-term, we work with families across, and if they weren't there with us, they wouldn't get to experience some things. And so just the smiles on their faces, watching them. And we also started doing a food bank on Wednesday, so we get a lot of donations. So it's open for the community on Wednesdays at noon, so people can come and get 2 bags of food. And then I've been talking with the Baha'i group. They rent a space from us for their group, and so we were talking about, so now we're utilizing Rendezvous. They're a free meal for families, or they're trying to focus on families with kids, maybe single parents, so you work all day, to provide a dinner for them. And as I get going and get settled, we're talking about doing more things, because it is our building, which I think is awesome. And so why don't we utilize it for other things and have more people come in and use it as for the community. So there's now a dinner on Thursdays for if you know anybody. So
So you just come in and you get to eat?
Yep.
That's nice.
But we're gonna start planning some activities for the kids or families to do as well when they get the meal. So it's not just grab a bite and go, but interact, maybe meet some other parents and, community.
Anybody else? Well, thank you, Linda.
All right. Thank you.
Jacqueline Pope?
I recognize all of you, so I won't go into the nitty-gritty detail about sale, because I know I've presented to all of you guys before. I do want to highlight some things about this past year that we've had. Something that I was super surprised with. We had never calculated how much money we have raised in our mini grants before, on a year-long basis. We write them out throughout the year. There's only 3 people in our office who write mini grants, and between those 3 people, we have brought in over $79,000 to this community of Ketchikan specifically. So I was really happy when I got to report that number. We have had a great year. We've had pre-ETs, we've added 2 new classes in the schools. We're going into the middle school now, and into K-High, we're adding a second after-school program for bringing employment services to kids. And then our outdoor rec program is doing great. In our summer work program, as you saw, I highlighted it a lot in this grant particularly. We added that nutrition component this year, and it went so well that we want to extend that to make it every year. So, can I answer any questions you guys might have?
Go for it, John.
So thank you, Ms. Pope, for being here. You mentioned the nutrition program, and I recall that Peace Health had been the funding agency on it was a one-time grant.
It was.
I was just curious, was it just like a trial run, or is an organization not allowed to apply for that same grant again in successive years, or what was the reason it was one time?
Yeah, so Peace Health, for this grant they don't want an organization to apply multiple years in a row for the exact same thing. So we reapplied for the grant and added that nutrition component to it. Just because we had learned how food, like how most of our kids who go through summer work, they weren't able to bring their own lunches. So because of that, we were like, oh, this will be great. We'll add this nutrition component, see how it goes. And it ended up being wonderful. And all the kids loved it, had a blast. They got to learn about food from Ketchikan specifically, but then also how to cook it and prepare easy meals. So, so then we were like, well, we obviously see the need in here, so we want to make it every year.
Thank you.
And when you say kids, are you talking about clients? And
We call them consumers,
Right.
and they're consumers of ours, but specifically that go through our summer work program.
so are they adult consumers too, or are they?
No, these are they're high school age.
Okay, that's what I was trying to.
We are right now. It's just high school age, but some 8th graders can apply for that program as well.
But without that grant, will you still be able to? You're still doing that.
We're still going to do the summer work program. We just don't have that extra making lunches. So they go to the grocery store, figure out a budget of what they need to make for the week, and then they buy all the ingredients and prep it for the week, and that's what they'll eat for lunch. We try to obviously pick healthy style lunches and teach them about what does that mean or look like. A lot of our kids, again, like I said, did not have lunches, so this is a way for them all to have the same lunch equally too.
So is this just a question? But so the idea too is to teach how to work or cook healthy meals within your budget.
Yeah, well, budgeting right there is a skill, and then also how to prep food, think about what do I need for the week, and then how to cook it.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah. We also gotta make sourdough, which is. Any other questions?
Anybody else? No?
Oh, and we did bring back the auction, which I know I've been asked here a couple times.
Oh, okay. When is it?
It was last November, so hopefully we'll be doing it again. Right.
Thank you.
Margaret Cloud.
So I'm Margaret Cloud, and I'm, for lack of a better word, I can say I'm the manager for Ketchikan Community Cats Program. And so we are a new 501c3, and what we'd like to do, what we're requesting the money for is a community pet wellness program that we really would like to get started. And with this would be providing vouchers for pet owners, cat owners, to get their cats and dogs in for a wellness exam and full vaccinations and a microchip. We have quite a problem here in town. Many of you probably know dogs that are running loose and nobody knows who they belong to. Which, if they're microchipped, at least if they're picked up, somebody gets them, they can scan for a microchip. nationwide, 30, maybe 50% of all pets vaccinated, which can be a very significant issue. If you have a dog or a cat that's not vaccinated and it bites somebody, the animal has to be in quarantine for 10 days, all those types of issues. So it is a serious situation, and parvo is an issue. Parvo stays in the ground for a very long time. With this program, what we're hoping to be able to do is offer the vouchers to community members so they can take their animal in. And what we're really gearing it towards is people who have not had their animal ever vaccinated or altered. And this is another big issue with not having animals altered. So we end up having primarily kittens, hundreds of kittens born every year, 50% mortality rate first year for them. And we just don't need this number. So we've been working very, very hard about reducing the number of kittens born through trap, neuter, release, working with all sorts of different ways to try to help get that under control, which is a money saver then for the community. So we have fewer animals ending up in animal protection, which is very expensive. So if we can have a voucher program where we can offer these vouchers to community members, it also allows us the opportunity to ask them if their animal's altered yet. And if their animal's not altered, well, we can help with that. The Ketchikan Humane Society has their SNP program. So it's a subsidized program. People can apply for that. It's geared primarily towards lower income people. That's what we also would be looking at, are the lower income people who are unable to afford to get their animals altered or vaccinated. So we can refer them and help them with the SNP application. So that way when they go in and get their animal altered, they can also get their animal vaccinated and microchipped. We don't want to be doing anything that's already being doing it. We want to supplement, want to just add another layer. And so part of what we do an awful lot. We have our food pantry program here for Kitchener Saxman. We've expanded to all of Prince of Wales Island, and then Metlakatla. We've been supporting people here and there, but now we started about 3 months ago. So we have the food programs, pet food programs over there, and all the communities, wonderful, wonderful volunteers in the extended areas. But this would be specifically just for Ketchikan for providing the vouchers. So what we're wanting to do is be able to increase the number of vaccinated animals here in the community and microchipped animals so they can get home, and then also be able to work with those people to get their animals altered. So we can be hitting the whole gamut. And once people are into the system of getting their animal to the vet, vaccinations altering, then they'll get those little reminders about come back in so you can get your, the booster shots. And we have been talking for a while in our little group about trying to have a vaccination clinic, which is really complicated to try to put that together. So if we could just do this to start, and that maybe later on we'll be able to actually work with the vet clinics to have vaccination clinics where people can come in and get low-cost vaccinations for their animals. So that's pretty much what we're looking at. We really hope to be able to do this. And also one of the things, if we'll be able to look for other grants that are specific for doing this. Most grants that are out there in the animal rescue world require you to already have a program in place. So we have been helping community members when they do take their animals into the SNP program with the vaccination costs, because they're already there. So we do help. But we have a lot of expenses to run the program. So this would help us expand and get more services for community members. And once we have a program in place, then we can look for these other grants that require that we have a program in place before we can get any funding.
Anyway, go for it.
Can I ask, what's the monetary value on a voucher? Like when you give it to somebody, what is that monetary voucher worth to them?
It depends on if it's a cat or a dog. Let me look.
So you can apply if you've got a dog, even though it's a cat program.
Oh, yeah. We joke about that.
discriminating against dogs.
Canine in there. So no, we do dogs.
Okay.
We do anything. Susan Dornblazer says, yeah, we, anything with fur, we'll probably do things with
Scales.
feathers too.
Okay.
No, we, just over a year ago, we helped with a situation in Edna Bay with some dogs. And so, no, we don't stop with cats.
Okay.
So for the cats, it would be approximately $150 for the vaccinations and a wellness check per cat, $170 for a wellness check and the vaccinations for a dog, and then an additional $54 for the microchip. So $200, about $200 for a cat to go in for the wellness check, vaccinations, and a microchip, and about $225 for a dog to go in for the wellness check and the vaccine, for everything. And so I was aghast when I added it all up and saw how much it was. But even if a person only gets the initial vaccinations, the rabies and the combo, when they have their animal in for getting altered, it's nice that if they can get back and get those boosters, but that initial vaccination series can be quite long for coverage. So and a lot of people don't go back. But if an animal's at least vaccinated for the rabies, it's really, really essential. There was a dog that's less than a year old that was adopted Midwest somewhere. The dog was vaccinated. It bit somebody at a doggy daycare and turned out it had rabies. It had contracted the rabies. It was a slow rabies, and they weren't aware of it. So 20 people were in proximity with the dog and all have to be treated for rabies exposure. Wow. So we really need to get our numbers down, and we do have bats here, which are carriers of rabies. So it's one of those things that, people don't think about so much, but it is really kind of an essential thing that we have all of our animals vaccinated for rabies at the very, very least. But we like that when we have them in there, let's get everything done so we don't have to worry. And it will be a money saver in the long run. We won't have people with animals that get sick who contact us for help, because we do help a lot of community members with vet services. We do as much as we can. And it's sort of like we've kind of gotten big really fast with a lot of what we're doing, and we're trying to catch up here. And so anything that can help us would be really great. And we are going to continue to explore other avenues for additional funding so we can keep going with the wellness program for our community animals.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
Yeah, does anybody have any questions? Does anybody want to adopt a cat?
I have 3.
Well, that's fine.
I don't.
You're a good pet owner. We'll get you another one. So, okay, thank you.
I have a
Thank you.
senior cat that would disagree with you. He is already angry about the other 2.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Ketchikan Community Choir, I don't think you signed up, but I saw that you were here. Did you have anything you wanted to? I don't know your name. Yeah. Not choir, I'm sorry, Ketchikan Community Band, sorry.
Community concert band.
Yes. You didn't.
Everybody
I didn't
was
see your
looking
name.
at Kathleen.
Sorry.
Who talked about bands. Get all confused. Yeah.
Debbie Blum with Ketchikan Community Concert Band, which I was the last one in and all that sort of stuff. But you guys said to me, I want to thank you for approving our grant last year, looking at me for this year. So, yeah, we're looking at just a grant to help with the operational expenses, to help so that we can provide a place for the really good musicians like to come and play together and make music for everybody. And let's see, so our goals had been before, and they still are continuing, just recruiting people to come in. And also to help with the young people. We had 10 high schoolers play in the last concert. And they need to be in the concert, they have to be able to be in the concert. But we had 10 of them, and they really helped with the last performance that we had. And we're also looking at trying to increase the musicality of what everybody's playing. Joe was able to increase, we had some very complicated songs, a lot of pieces that we played.
and also to be able to pay our directors. This is something we've only started this last year to be able to do that, but we were able to do that. And so those are all the goals we've been working on. And our next performance will be coming in the spring. We'll start practices next week. So if you know of anybody that wants to play, that's got some skills, we'd be very glad to have them. So any questions?
I have one. Yeah, thank you for joining us. I think it's excellent that you were able to meet that goal last year of paying. I actually were able to pay 2 different music directors with that honorarium. And I just wondered if the amount that you're able to pay them is about typical for what you might expect in this state. Is it above, below? How would it rate?
Kathleen was able to research and see what somebody ought to be paid, and that's what she was able to come up with. I'm putting you on the spot, I apologize. I apologize. That's what was
I'm
come up
actually
with.
a board member of the Ketchikan
She's
Community
president.
Concert Band. That's why I was doing that. And I did research across the country what community concert bands are making in Alaska, nonprofit community bands. And that's about what it is. Some are way higher, some are way less, some are none. So it's just an average, and it's about what they're making.
Thank you.
It's a lot of work to be a band director, yeah.
Herding cats.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yes.
So about how many members do you have now?
I counted it up, we're at 36 this last performance, but we can come up to 45. But the thing is, we have some solid members. You know, or they're all busy working other jobs. They do this in the evening after they've been, So solid crew. We're trying to recruit other people. Coming up the young, we had a couple people come back that had been in band before, but we're looking at high quality, high skilled musicians. And so, yes, we want to have more people, but we don't want to just have a whole bunch of people. We want to have people that are actually going to enhance the band. So we're working on that. And it's coming. So, anything else?
Anybody else?
Thank
Thank you.
Is there anyone that wanted to speak that didn't sign up? Just making sure, because I was,
Still a couple that didn't.
there's some people
Didn't
that,
show.
yeah, they're not here, so. But that's the end of your list, the end list, Your Honor.
Okay. Oh.
Never heard of
Who was
holders.
missing?
They're new.
They're new. It's Juliana. I'll reach out
And
to
of
her.
course, in the mix.
Yes, you know.
I'm curious why Coneyama isn't asking for anything.
I don't think they even accepted their funding from last year.
They just.
It is-
Because they don't have the exchange teacher programs not
Yeah.
happening anymore.
Oh.
That's
Oh, did they lose it?
Oh.
well, it's
They couldn't get visas.
you can't get a visa anymore.
Oh.
They make it so hard to get a visa that basically killed it.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's a bummer.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I guess we can go to, so the next meeting, we're looking at February 3rd, 2026.
Yeah, so
So-
and I'll send out another email too, but the next meeting is February 3rd, 2026. That's when the committee will talk about their funding recommendations. If they have any changes to that, you do not need to sign up to speak. We just suggest that you're here in case there are any additional questions. And then these final recommendations will go before the city council for final approval on February 19th. I can't remember the meeting date off the top of my head, but
Okay, yeah, because it'll be after, yeah, it'll have to be the second meeting.
yeah, after this.
Uh,
The 19th, yep. Okay.
And does anyone, okay, so, member comments, Jack, do you have any comments?
Just say, it's sort of the push-pull of reading these applications every year. It's astonishing the amount of work that is done by the number of people who are committed to the causes that are represented in these applications. And we know that, the roughly 20 applicants here are not the only nonprofits in town. It's just a tremendous amount of need, which is pretty eye-opening. And there are some really dedicated people who are working very hard to meet those needs where they can. And I am always grateful to the people who put themselves literally in the trenches, whether they're employees of the nonprofits that are applying here today, or the many, 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 many volunteers who support those programs. And as always, I wish we had all the money that we could ever hope to spend. And now we get into the difficult decision making of how best to distribute these funds. But I do want to thank you for the work that you and your teams do, because it's tremendously important. And it's part of what makes Ketchikan such an excellent place to live, even for people who have less access than others. So thank you for your work. And that's it for me.
The email that went out to Tuesday, February 2nd, but it's Tuesday, February 3rd.
Yes, and I think I
Oh,
sent
is
out a
it?
correction email, so yeah, it's
Oh,
the February 3rd. Yeah.
Just making sure we didn't miss you.
No.
Thank you.
February.
Well, no, why who's here then? Judy?
Nobody says it like Finnegan. Ditto what he said. Thank you all for what you do.
Shauna.
Reiterating what Jack said, so, but yeah, it's a great reminder every time I participate in this committee of just what an amazing town this is to live in, and I'm really feel lucky that we all get to live together and see all the amazing stuff that you guys are doing, and it's just really heartwarming, so thank you.
Yeah, and that's a lot of work to put these applications together, and hopefully it was useful in some way for you to crunch the numbers and whatnot. And thanks for doing that and for being here.
Thanks for reading it. Yeah, thanks for reading it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see how thick they are.
Yeah, I can't stress enough, you guys, I mean, the amount of work, and I've lived places that don't have half of the programs that we have in Ketchikan, and it is what makes Ketchikan amazing and a great place to live, and I appreciate it, and I wish we had all the money in. Someone needs to win the lotto. Anyway.
Trying to make more sales tax.
And then zeroed out. Anyway, anybody have a motion?
Move to adjourn.
Second.